Did it work?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for hopping in. It's a great meeting with all of you. If it's your first time of meeting me, my name is Ranjini. I'm a medical student based in Nigeria. I'm studying radiography in my third year med school. And apart from my medical studies, I'm also a professional operator, medical writer. And today, I have an amazing guest speaker, on my YouTube channel. Hey, Tanya, could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, so I'm Taneia. I'm a freelance health and wellness writer. I've been freelancing for about 3 years now, and I have a background in public health. I've got my bachelor's and master's degree in public health. I've worked with clients like Healthline, Health.com, Insider, and AARP.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, are you working as a public health practitioner right now?
No, not at this moment.
Okay, so you're focused on your writing right now, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, so I have some couple of questions for you to, answer to the audience. Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. All right. The first question goes this way. Um, can you share your experience, navigating regulatory requirements, for medical content as a freelance health writer in the US?
Um, I do that by kind of just going into I'm more of a health writer, so I don't really go into like the medical aspect of like the manuscripts and stuff that medical writers typically do. But whenever I'm writing content and it's in an area that I may have a little experience in or background in, I'm always going to experts, so like subject matter experts, or I'll look into like research studies, see what has been done in that area, and then apply that to my content.
Okay, that's amazing. So tell us what's the difference between being a medical writer and a health writer? What's the difference?
Yeah, so typically when it comes to medical writing, I find that the freelancers that I've come across, they tend to do like more technical content. So like I said, like manuscripts and stuff that might be more tailored towards healthcare providers. And with health writing, I found that it's more patient facing. So I'm doing like things like what does this rash mean, or what should I do if I have constipation? So stuff like that that's easy to understand for like a lay audience that has no medical background.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And um that's amazing explanation. The second quick question goes this way. So tell us, what are the, common challenges you're facing, as a health writer, also to create content for a diverse audience out there?
Yeah, so I would say the challenges I face now is really just kind of fighting against like AI, because a lot of clients are looking for AI stuff, and I feel like now me and other writers are really fighting to prove that you want a human writer, because we can bring our expertise, we can pull in experts if we don't have the answer, we can reach out to a physician to get insight. We can also go in and look at research and back up our claims. So I would say that would be the main challenge that I face right now.
Okay, so do you think AI is going to take over health writers and medical writers out there?
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned that, because I saw a post in a Facebook group I'm in, and the question that the person posed was, is health going to be a writing niche that's in threat of AI? And a lot of the comments actually said no, because with health content, you have to be accurate in what you say. So you just never know. But I have had clients who wanted me to create stuff with AI content in it, and it was health based, and I didn't really feel comfortable doing that. So we'll just have to see. You just never know.
Okay, we anticipate, and different types of, technologies are really coming in, and, we anticipate, and that's right. All right, so third question goes this way. How do you stay updated, you know, on the latest advancements and changes in the healthcare, industry, and to ensure your writing reflects to current standards, you know, and to a diverse audience? Do you understand the question?
Yes. So for that, I'm just always looking at the news. Just Googling stuff, if there's just something that crosses my mind. Like I'm really into sexual wellness. So sometimes I'll just kind of see, what are the startups doing? Are there anything like, for example, I think there's like FDA approved menopause supplements. So I found that interesting. That's definitely something that I'll apply, in the future with my health writing. But definitely like looking at the news. LinkedIn is actually a good resource too, because a lot of people share news and they'll share their opinion on it. So that's another way for me to gain insight into what's going on as well.
Amazing. So, what kind of medical firms do you think are eligible for writers, medical writers, and health writers to access to get tangible news out there?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question? I didn't catch the first half. I'm sorry.
Okay, the question goes this way. What are the medical firms, or medical website that medical writers or health writers can, log into to get tangible information out there?
Oh yeah, yeah. So there's one that I've come across and it is a subscription, but it's called MD Links, MDLINX. I think that's a good resource because they post a lot of stuff. I think CDC has something where you can go to that and see what the latest news is. I think you can't really go wrong with any government website, honestly. So even if that's the FDA, CDC, or what have you, I would start there and then just subscribing to like free journals, medical journals to see what the latest studies are. That's a good starting point.
Amazing, amazing. So, when you were in your master's, were you a writer back then?
Actually, I was not. I didn't start writing professionally as a freelance writer until well, actually, I'm sorry. Yes, I did. I'm thinking about when I got my bachelor's. So I didn't write professionally before I got my bachelor's, but then right after I graduated in 2020, I started writing professionally then. So then by the time I was working on my master's, I was working full time. I was going to school full time, and then I was doing freelance writing on the side. So yes.
So how did you balance those equations like going for your studies and also writing? How did you balance those equations?
I don't even know if I want to say I balanced it because it was a struggle, but I did my best though. For the most part,
Absolutely.
I would I initially I found a job as I was working on my master's, so I did have some better balance then where I could kind of just do classes and do my freelance assignments. But once I got a job, I really had to push a lot of that stuff either into the evening, so I would get off at 5 and I would just go ahead and do classwork and then do freelance writing stuff, or then if it was the weekends, I would just spend that time doing freelance writing. So didn't have much free time. I wouldn't recommend that if somebody is looking into that. I would try to find a better balance than that. It was definitely stressful.
It's really honestly like for me now, doing my medical studies currently from bachelor's, my third
Mm-hmm.
year, and also being a writer, medical writer is really stressful. Really,
It
really stressful. It is absolutely. What did you study in your bachelor's?
So I actually double majored. So I got a bachelor's in public health and then I made my second major. So it didn't exist until I kind of sent out a proposal, and that was a bachelor's in minority health and health disparities. So aside from like sexual health, I have a strong interest in like minority health as a, general topic.
Yeah, I was speaking with a medical student in the UK that is doing her master's currently in public health. And she told me that public health has a lot of specializations and a lot of amenities around that course. So what made you to go for sexual and wellness, specialization?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it really started with my bachelor's degree. With that interest in minority health, I had an interest in STD disparity. So I'm always looking for, why are Black women more likely to get chlamydia, stuff like that. So from there, I've kind of broadened my interest, but that's really where it started. I just was really curious as to why, minorities, specifically Black people, are more exposed to certain STDs. And then from there, I got into like HIV. I did an internship at an HIV clinic actually during my bachelor's degree, and that just amped my interest in sexual health overall.
Okay, so do you write content for your clients apart from things relating to your specialization?
Oh yeah, I definitely while I like enjoying, I enjoy writing about sexual health. I definitely write about a lot of different things. I have one client where I do all things cancer, so I have a lot of experience writing cancer related content. I've done a few personal stories on myself because I have lupus, so any opportunity to write on chronic diseases, I'm always open towards that. Um, and right now I'm doing a lot of stories on bowel movements, which is exciting. So yeah, I'm kind of all over. But if I had to pick two that I feel like I have the most experience in, it's definitely sexual health and oncology or cancer.
Amazing. I saw that news, that post you made about a disease we're suffering from, and that really hit me. It's different. Could you throw some, light about that story for the audience to learn?
Yeah. So last December, I worked on a story for Insider, and I basically just pitched them on how it was just really a challenge to get diagnosed with lupus. At first, it just was kind of like a rash that I developed in the summer. This was back in high school, so I want to say around ninth grade. I apologize if I'm a little off on that, but it was definitely high school. And then I went to my pediatrician. She didn't know what it was. Then I went to a dermatologist here in my hometown. He didn't know what it was. And I went to Birmingham. That dermatologist didn't know what it was. And then from there, I had to see over a dozen doctors for them to officially diagnose me with lupus. And I have Sjogren's syndrome as well. So it was a wild ride, especially to be a teenager going through that. I know a lot of people usually face that as an adult, so it was a whirlwind. But I'm glad to have a diagnosis and be on treatment now.
So what do you think was the course of that disease you had when you were, in high school?
You mean like how did that affect me during high school, or
Yeah, what do you think is the course of that disease?
well, luckily for me, I have one of the I can't even think of the word for it now, but it's not as severe as some people. Like a lot of people who have lupus, they end up getting hospitalized and stuff. Luckily, mine is just kind of just skin based. So, I've had rashes before. That's usually my main problem, but sometimes I have like joint pain and stuff. But it wasn't. I mean, I kind of just had like insecurity issues. Really, was the biggest part I faced because I was just like breaking out in rashes. So that was just as a teen, you're a little more insecure about yourself. So that didn't really help. So
Yeah.
just navigating that was a little difficult. But once I got out of high school and got to college, I was doing better. I was responding well to medication. I was able to kind of put that on the back end and focus on other stuff.
That was an amazing experience and really terrible at the same
Yeah.
time. When you put that story out there, it really hit me different. That was my first time coming across that name of that disease you suffered from.
Oh
It
wow.
made me to go more. Yeah, I did a whole lot of research on that disease, and you saw over a dozen doctors. That's terrible. That's really terrible. So was it diagnosed properly? Are you treated about it?
Yeah, yeah.
You're
So
free, right?
well, I still have it, but I don't have like the rashes and stuff. So I function fine. So I'm just on a daily treatment and have to just get my eyes checked because the medication affects my eyes. So that's pretty much it. I actually go to the rheumatologist this week. So and she's the one that manages my lupus.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So, where did you do your master's in the years?
So I got my master's from the University of Alabama, Birmingham, and I did it online. So I got my bachelor's there. I was there in Birmingham for my bachelor's, but then I came back home and then I did my master's fully online. And I did that from 2020 to 2022.
Okay, because of the pandemic, right?
Well, funny enough, I actually, so with my bachelor's degree, I did mostly in person, but I loved my online classes. So I knew when I got my master's, I was like, I don't want to do in person. So that was even before the pandemic even happened. I was just like, I just want to do online. And it worked out very well for me. I actually prefer online courses.
That was amazing. That's amazing that you're really navigating all this, things you're coming across, and that's really amazing. I believe that the audience is gonna be enlightened about this story. So, can you provide, insights into balancing the need for, writing, rigor with making health content accessible to a wide audience in your freelance journey?
Yeah, so I think starting off with that is working with brands that aren't behind like a paywall or a subscription, so that if somebody's Googling, hey, I'm noticing some lumps or something, when they click on the link, it's not like at halfway as they scroll, it's like, hey, if you want to read the rest, subscribe or pay $1 a month, something like that. So just trying to work with brands where people don't have to get over a hurdle to get the content that they really need. And also I would say just creating content that's easy to understand. Unfortunately, some things you can't really just break down, with the medical terms. Sometimes you have to put them out there, but as long as you have that, okay, this term means this and this, then I think that's also helpful as well. And and breaking things up, so having that white space, because nobody wants to read a giant paragraph, when they just want to get one or two questions about what they're concerned about. So just, making the formatting the content in a way that anybody can read it and get what they need out of it quickly.
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe this could help many health writers and medical writers out there. The fifth question goes this way. What are the strategies, do you employ to manage tight deadlines, especially towards your clients, and ensure timely delivery of high quality health writing products to your clients, especially? How do you do that?
That's a good question. So for me, depending on every client is different. So some clients will just give you a topic and just say, go for it. It's due in 2 weeks, 1 week, or whatever. And then other clients will give you a brief. So with a brief client, let's just say it's 1,000 words and they need like two experts. So from there, I'm just looking at the brief, seeing what I need, and then I go ahead and put out a source request. I'm like, I need experts for X, Y, and Z. I've already had the questions made. So as I'm waiting on them, I'm kind of just drafting an outline, researching the topic, just getting a feel for what I'm going to be writing about, see what the competitors have been writing about, especially the ones that are on the top maybe 5 searches when you Google search it. So then from there, once I've got the experts response, I'll go ahead and start writing a draft. I prefer to do it in one day so that I can kind of just get it done. And then the next day I'll go in. I use Grammarly, so that's my saving grace. So I use Grammarly a lot to check my grammar. And then I'll also, manually edit myself, then do the sources, whatever other, requirements the client has. And then from there, I'll send it off.
Wow, amazing, amazing. So I want to ask you a question. Um, you talked about something that caught my attention. Um, you said something about Grammarly, and that's amazing. And is that the only, you know, material you use as a writer?
Oh, no, no, no. That's just one that I mainly use. I've also used like Hemingway. And then as far as just like organization as a whole, I've started using Notion, and I've actually had a page set up to give me kind of like a timeline of like, okay, I have this topic. Do I have the sources confirmed? And then I'll have like a page that's separate for like their quotes and stuff, and have that linked so I can just go back to that and do whatever I need to do with the quotes if it's like they've written the responses. And that helps me stay on track too. And then it has the deadline. So what was the deadline for the sources, and then when is my actual due date to turn it into the client?
Okay, that's amazing, amazing explanation. So have you encountered any ethical dilemmas, in your role as a freelance health writer? And how do you approach them, as a freelance health writer, especially in the US?
Hmm. I'll really have to think about that because I'm not sure if I've experienced anything too bad. Other than just like pay. I've been waiting on one client to pay since like September, and then they like temporarily shut down. So really that's the biggest issue for me. As far as the content goes, editors are pretty good with that, and understanding. They give you what you need, and if you have questions, they don't hesitate to answer them. So I would say on the writing side they're good, but there are some clients who just have issues with paying invoices on time, and I'm sure a lot of other freelancers could agree with me on that.
Yeah,
So
I do agree. I do agree, 100%, 100%. I do agree because I almost had an issue with one of, companies I worked for, and they were having some backlashes, in terms of payment. And I was really angry, but they later paid, and that's cool, So I really concur with what you just said. So how do you build relationship with your clients? How do you pitch? How do you Where do you get your most clients from? Is it on Instagram or majorly on LinkedIn? And how do you grow that relationship with your clients?
Yeah, so that's a good question. I'm trying to think of where I start because I've found clients everywhere. I've found clients on Instagram. Of course, LinkedIn is probably the biggest one. I haven't found any on Facebook yet, so I'm always interested if anybody knows how they do that. I would love to find clients on Facebook, but also cold pitching. I would say if I had to rank them, I would say cold pitching is first, and then LinkedIn is second. I've just found that if I can really structure a good email, personalize it, um, even if they're just opening it, that's a good start. And of course, the response is even better. So I really start there, and that's been effective for me. That the first client that I got in sexual health, that was simply and also referrals too. I've had a lot of freelancers refer me and be like, "Hey, I know you write for this," or there's a client looking for this. You should check it out or something. So that's another one that's really helpful. But it's my top one would definitely be like just cold emailing.
Okay, all right. That's well explained. Thank you so much for that. So I want to ask you, why are you not practicing as a public health practitioner?
Just taking a break. I would love to find a way to do that as a contractor or even go back to it. I'll never want to say that freelance writing is just what I'm going to do forever. So, but I like that I have that degree and experience that whenever I want to change routes, I can kind of fall back into it. Nothing really happened for me that was just like, I just don't want to do it anymore. I will always love public health. That has a special place in my heart. I just wanted to do something different and, hopefully whenever the time comes when I want to go back into that profession, that there are better opportunities where I can really explore my interest. I think that's another thing too. It's just not that many jobs in what I want to explore. So that's another thing.
Amazing. So I'm a medical student. As a medical student, I love learning from other people that are above me. You were once a medical student, So I want to ask a question. What are the challenges you faced when you were studying your bachelor's degree in public health and also towards your master's degree in public health? Just in a jiffy, well, how did you, come across those challenges and how did you face them and tackle it?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So there's one. I'll be honest, I'm not the best in math, and I decided that I was going to take biostatistics honors when I was getting my bachelor's degree, and that was my sophomore year, and that was an extremely hard class. There was way too many letters and numbers combined for me for my brain to understand. And yeah, I
You
remember
know, too much.
yeah, that was probably the roughest moment of my whole like college experience, bachelor's and master's. But yeah, there was days I would be doing homework in my dorm room and I would be like in tears because I just didn't understand it. But luckily I was like, okay, I need help. So I was like, I had someone on time with my professor and he kind of worked through things. I was just like, all I need to do is ask for help. So that was just kind of a challenge of kind of getting out of my own head and just being like, it's okay to just be like, hey, I don't understand this. Can you help me understand it? And I got out of the class with I think a B. So, I pulled through it, but that was tough. I'm a pretty like not to be like humble, but I do well academically. But when it comes to like math and stuff, that's just not my area. So
Same here. That's one of the things I hate about engineering because as me, I ventured into that path, I would have done really bad because I don't know much about calculations. I'm not that good in that aspect. So I want to ask a question. So your lecturers back there were willing to help you.
yeah, yeah. And as long as it was during their office hours, they always were like, hey, if you need help, come during my office hours. And they weren't doing anything else. And they would sit with you and help you out. I did that a few times. So I'm like, for as much as I was paying, at least the professors can help out.
So was there a time that a lecturer didn't come for class? You had a subject today and the lecturer never showed up for the class? Has it happened to you before?
No, that's never happened. Maybe they were late, but no, I don't think they would have accepted that at my school. They would have been like, that's not okay. You know, you got to have some type of backup or cancel class or something. But no, I never had one just kind of ghost or just not appear.
Okay, okay. It does happen to school. That's why I asked that question. Lectures are really, really terrible here in Nigeria.
Oh yeah,
They're not really taking things seriously. You just have to work on yourself, and that's really terrible. So that's why I asked that question. Because they come and they feel lackadaisical about everything about the class, and nobody queries them because
yeah.
that's how the system is. And it's really terrible, you know. So how does environment affect your freelance work? Does environment affect your work as a freelance health writer?
Yeah. I don't know if you can even hear it, but my cats are like beating on my door. But my environment at home is a little tricky. I have an office space, and this is where I come where I really need to focus. But I honestly, I don't mind working on the couch. As long as I kind of just have that time to really focus in, I'm okay. But I would say my environment is not the best. I go to the library sometimes if I really just need to focus on something. I went last week, so whenever I just feel like at home it's just not working for me, I always have my backup at the library.
Okay, amazing, amazing. So there's a question that just popped into my head right now. Can I ask you that question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is when you were writing some of your medical exams, when you were doing your bachelor's or your master's or whatever, did any of your students from or did something called examination malpractice?
No, no, I didn't face any of that or see anybody else go through anything like that. No.
Nobody, did you experience maybe your student getting suspended or expelled from the school?
No, and if they were, you really didn't hear about it. Especially in college, I kind of really stuck to myself. I had my roommate, and I would hang out with a few other people. But as far as like who I saw in class, they were there every day, and you just didn't really hear about that. I don't know. That could vary with schools, maybe, but I never witnessed that. Everybody seemed to, if you failed, you failed, but you wouldn't like do anything crazy.
Okay, so do your professors intentionally fail students
Oh,
over there?
intentionally fail. Oh no, no, they would face so much scrutiny for that or get fired. Oh, it would be terrible. Yeah, they wouldn't.
Serious?
Yeah. No,
They do that in my school. They do that in my school.
that's crazy. I'm sorry to hear that. That's frightening, especially if you really are on the right track.
Yeah, it's crazy. We'll definitely talk about this later, So you've been an amazing speaker, Tanya. So what are the last advice you want to tell the audience before we wrap up the session?
Yeah, so I get a lot of people that ask me like how do you get into writing, and it just took some time. Everybody's different. It really took me about 2 years to get to where I could say, okay, I can do this full time. And you just have to really put yourself out there, don't be afraid to share your wins, share your losses on social media, connect with other freelancers, but don't just jump into their DMs and be like, help me. You gotta work on your approach. I'm sure you've been there several times. They're like, give me work. I'm like, I don't even know where are your samples? Yeah.
I, I start feeling myself like a recruiter. Like I'll tell you, hey, well, I want to see your CV. I want to see your working samples. Where are they? Let me take a look at it.
Yeah, they don't even come with anything to like prove their worth. They're just like, hey, I'm writing in the healthcare industry. Can you give me work? I'm just like, I don't. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. I wish it would be that easy. You just ask and you shall receive. But
Yeah.
yeah, just work on how you approach other freelancers and potential clients. Kind of give them a warm introduction. You can say who you are, but don't just go ahead and be like, hey, can you give me work, or are you looking for writers? Just kind of take it slow, because I've learned that you have to have a lot of patience when it comes to freelance writing. It took me a
Yeah,
while to
absolutely.
get to where I wanted to be. So just be patient. Don't spend $1,000 on courses. Try to find free resources. There's plenty of
Sure.
newsletters. You can learn a lot on LinkedIn if you follow the right people. So, including Ransom, follow good people on LinkedIn. You can learn from them for free. And if you find someone worth the money, then go ahead. But don't empty out your savings to, to become a freelance writer. That won't benefit
Yeah,
you.
yeah, that's right. Before we wrap up, let me share the story. There was a lady, her name is Jennifer Dessa. She's a Canadian. Um, she's a nurse. She want to quit her nursing profession and move into health writing in general. So I told her that I'm not a health writer. I'm a medical writer. I told her the difference. And she told me that most of her friends that she knows that works in that industry that she's, venturing into is majorly virtual. None of our, you know, places, and she lives in a small city, and most of our, neighbors and everybody over there don't really know what that means to be a head writer or something. So I helped her in some ways, and she has been paying hundreds of Canadian dollars for courses on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and to no avail. She hasn't learned anything from those courses.
Right.
And when she came across me, I helped her. I told her, hey, you don't need to spend much on courses. These are things you can just learn on your own if you
Right.
follow some strategies I'm going to do right now. And now she's doing amazing well. I'm going to invite her soon, on my YouTube, where she can just share her journey. And from there, we'll go from there. So thank you so much, Taneia, for you've been an amazing guest speaker, and that is amazing. That's really amazing. So, uh, audience, if you like this content, do well to subscribe, like, comment, and share to your network, and it will go from there. Expect my upcoming content. Thank you so much, Tanya.
Yeah,
You're
it was a
welcome.
pleasure.
Some marketing.